Hello, you guys. Okay, I got y'all all set up and I am just getting straight to the point of the video today. Mostly because I have a meeting that I have to be in 30 minutes. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get straight to the point. But I asked you guys on Instagram just to send me some questions that I can do for a Q&A on here, and I have not looked at them yet. I have Instagram up right now. So let's see. Oh my gosh, I feel like I haven't done a Q&A in such a long time. But here are all. Why can't I scroll? I'm just gonna go through them and answer as many as I can before my meeting. And if you're new here, I'm Molly. I am a running content creator, lifestyle vlogger here in Austin, Texas. And I love just catching up with you guys and sharing parts of my life with you all. So I'm so excited to answer these questions. I'm assuming most of the questions will be running based, but there might be other questions too. Like I said, I haven't looked at them. Okay, so let's get into it. First question is, how do running influencers get the perfect running selfies/videos? That's so funny. So the trick is to use the back camera instead of the front camera. When I'm out running, I will always use this one because otherwise your face is like so close up. So put it on 0.5 and turn it around, and it's kind of awkward to run with it like that because you kind of have to be like stiff or else it's gonna be super shaky. But yeah, put it on 0.5, turn it around and shoot it just like that. What's your favorite race you've ever done and why? So my favorite race is the Golden Gate Trail Classic that I did last fall. I ran the 50K and it's my favorite for a couple of reasons. I definitely think the fact that it was my first ultra marathon made it one of my favorites and just super memorable, but also it was so beautiful. It was across the Golden Gate Bridge and then into the area right outside of San Francisco. I think it's called like Marin or not Marin. I think it's Marin. I might be saying that wrong, but it was so beautiful. And I truly just had the best time of my life out there. Like it was so much fun. I was so nervous just because I didn't know what to expect for my first ultra, and it just completely blew me away. The scenery made it go by so fast. I love trail running. And so it was my first it was my second trail run. The first one I'd ever done was a half trail a couple years ago. So it was my first long time running on completely trail. That was so much fun. It made the time pass by so quickly. Everyone was so nice. And I was really pleased with how it went and how I performed too. So overall, it was truly just so perfect. Favorite long run running shoes. So I have two favorites. My favorites are either the Hoka Clifton 8s or the Nike Invincible 3. For long trail runs, I really like the Nike Zigama. I honestly don't even know if that's the right name. If it's wrong, I'm gonna drop it here. I've never used gels before. How should I take them? So how often you take them and what gels you prefer are going to be entirely different from me, from another runner, from a person in a race next to you. It is so specific to your body. But a good rule of thumb, if you are just figuring out how to use gels and trying to figure out the right cadence, people generally take one gel between every 30 to 45 minutes. I personally don't take a gel unless I'm running for longer than an hour, but again, that's really different for people too. So would definitely encourage you just to play around with it. But fueling is so important on your runs, so definitely go ahead and try fueling with them if you haven't, especially if you're running long distance. I really like Honey Stinger. I really like Huma gels. People really like Martin, people like UCAN, so there are a ton of options out there. What was your weekly mileage like training for the 50K versus the 50 miler? Also, sorry, because these questions are so all over the place. So my weekly mileage training for the 50K, my peak week was around 65 miles, and kind of my base during 50 miler training was 60 miles or upper 50s. So I ran a ton more training for the 50 miler than I did the 50K. And I think one of the biggest differences was it would just be a couple more miles during the week. Instead of having a 6-mile run, I would have an 8-mile run on Mondays, and Tuesdays are always speed or hill workouts, and then Wednesdays would be a medium long run. So I was typically going around 10 to 12, and during the 50 miler training and during the 50K training, I was probably only doing around 8. So weekly mileage was just a couple more, and then the weekends is where I really shot my distance up. For the 50K, it would be a long run on Saturday, and then almost always, not always, but almost always the second day, so Sunday, or if I did the runs on Friday, Saturday, it would be Saturday. But the day following, my long run would be half of what the distance was the day before. So if I ran 18 miles on Saturday, I would then run 9 on Sunday. And for 50 miler training, if I ran 18 on Saturday, I was most likely running 18 on Sunday, unless it was a down week, in which case I would do half of that mileage. But yeah, I usually mirrored what I did for the long run on both days, and that was really hard to get used to at first, but I mean, I think it paid off because I finished it and I felt really good. I was only sore for like 2 days after the 50 miler, which I feel like is a true testament to my training and also speaks to the course and that I wasn't able to push it as hard as I wanted to just because the weather was so bad. How do you deal with washing your hair and training schedule? I look permanently gross. Okay, I don't believe that, but I also feel that, especially in the summer when I'm like sweating so freaking much. I wash my hair a lot more. When it's not summertime, I wash my hair twice a week, and honestly, like, I mean, it's so sweaty after I finish run, but I just have to like let it down and let it air dry. And because my hair is curly, I think that definitely helps. Although I'm not sure what it looks like today. And then in the summer, I wash it a lot more. I try not to wash my hair every single day. I know you're not supposed to, so I'll try and go every other. And I usually do that kind of based on like what plans I have and how far I've run. I really don't use dry shampoo. I tried some and just like didn't love it. I would much prefer just like letting my hair air dry with the sweat and all. And again, because my hair is curly, I think it masks it a little bit more. And I'm a big fan of headbands. Ask me why I'm wearing a headband today, and it'll be because I did not wash my hair. Have you ever struggled with bad body image? 100%. I think that is a struggle that most women definitely go through, and I think men go through as well. And I feel like recently it's been a little bit more difficult. I'm usually pretty confident in what I look like and how I feel and all those things, but especially nowadays with like posting a lot more on social media and also following a lot of runners, it's been way more difficult than it ever has been just to be really confident in how I look and positive in how I feel. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but your body is the least important or interesting thing about you. And so I try to tell myself that too. I think it's really easy to get caught up in what other people look like, and especially when you're in like such a small niche as running, it kind of feels like everyone looks the same. But one, that's definitely not true. And so I think it helps me just to like step outside of what I'm seeing on social media. Like even when I look around on a run, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, there are a ton of runners out here who all have different body types, and that's something I love about running. So I think kind of just stepping outside of like what it is that I'm feeling and realizing that if I am feeling my body well, if I'm giving it rest, if I am eating nutritious foods, then that is the most important thing. The most important thing is how I feel versus how I look. And another thing I think that helps me just to stay grateful for my body is just remembering how much it's done for me. Like I freaking ran 50 miles. Like how could I not be so proud of myself and my body? And so I think focusing on the really beautiful things that your body has done for you and gotten you through is also a really great way to pull yourself out of bad body image days. But honestly, everyone has them. So if you have them, like it's okay. You can, like your feelings are valid with what you're feeling. And again, I think it's just really helpful to kind of acknowledge those feelings. You should also step outside of those feelings and whatever it is you're telling yourself, and just realize all the amazing things about you and amazing things that your body has done for you. Have you got any plans to do any races internationally? If so, which are you keen to do? I would love to do a race internationally. I was just telling Dom that I really want to do an ultra in South Africa, truly only because I was messaging someone, and so I just like went to look at her profile because she had said something about running ultras, and so I was like, oh, I wonder which one she's done. And I went to her profile and she had just done one in South Africa, and I was like, that looks beautiful. But probably more realistically would be one in Europe versus like South Africa, but hey, you never know. But yeah, I would love to do the London Marathon, and I would love to do Berlin and Amsterdam. And I definitely think traveling internationally for ultras would be really cool too, but honestly, I don't know enough about ultras in other countries. How do you keep yourself motivated to run every day? So first, I definitely don't run every day. I do run a lot. I do run 5 to 6 days, but even like one designated rest day is essential and so helpful too. So I definitely wouldn't ever strive to be running every single day, at least not for me, not for my body. I need that rest. And I think it's less about motivation and more about discipline, because I am not motivated to run every single day. Like there are some days that I don't want to. Right now I'm dying to because I am injured, but honestly, I would say it's like half and half for wanting to go on a run. And what's really helpful for me, well, one, I'm like very type A and I really like accomplishing things. And so I really like the feeling of knowing that I went on the run, even if I didn't want to, and accomplished it. And I know that I will always feel better after going on a run. I never feel worse after going on a run. However, I do feel worse when I don't get outside and don't move my body. And so I think more about the afterward. And I think the hardest thing is getting yourself to go. There will be times when I'm dragging my feet to go out on a run And then within like the first 10 minutes of the run, I'm like, I am so glad I'm out here. And so I have to remember those things when I really don't want to. And like everyone else, of course I have days that I don't want to, but just remember the overall goal and how I'm going to feel, especially with the 50 miler. I think I only missed a couple days of running just because I just knew I wanted to have a pleasant 50 miler experience, and I would rather suffer through, it was not suffering at all, but for lack of a better word, I'd rather suffer through the training versus suffer through a 50 miler because I didn't put in the work when it came to the training. How did you hurt your ankle? Well, because I'm a dummy. So I was on a run. I had gone to CrossFit that morning and it was really hard. So my legs were just super tired. But when I was training for the 50K, I did CrossFit and running on the same day all the time. Hadn't done it in a while. And I think that was maybe my problem. I was just really tired. So I tripped within probably like 100 feet of leaving our apartment. I'm running on like this dirt, gravel-y, like rocky area, which is like not even long at all. And I just completely ate it. It was so weird because I was like, I know other people can see me, but like, how am I supposed to react? Like, I'm fine, whatever. So I tripped, got up, kept running. And then within the next 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm literally covered head to toe in dirt. I need to start brushing it off because I know it looks so weird. So I was looking down at like my wrist and brushing it off and wasn't paying attention to my feet. And there was like a plastic, I think it was just like a plastic water bottle or something like that. And I rolled my ankle because I was not paying attention. And it really hurt. As soon as it happened, it like really hurt. I was like making sounds and like hopping because I was like, oh my, I was like, ooh. And then I just kind of like ran back home, thought it was fine. And next day it was bruised and swollen, which told me it was not fine. And now I'm at a point where I can walk without any pain. I just can't like roll it in or out. So yeah, that is what happened to it. And I am hoping, all last week we were in Mexico and just like walking a ton. So I'm hoping this week if I can stay off it a little bit more, be better about icing and doing exercises, I'm hopeful that in a week or a week and a half, I'll be able to return to running because I do really miss it. And I do really love getting up early in the summertime and like running as the sun comes up. So I'm like keep looking outside in the mornings and like see the sun streaming through our windows. And I'm like, I wish I was out there. What's the best tip to lower your heart rate? My easy runs are always above 165 RPM. Yeah, definitely a little too high for an easy run. So I have no idea what like pace you're running at or where you're running or anything like that. But my first suggestion would be to slow down. I think running 80% of your runs at an easy pace can be really humbling, especially if you see other people around you just like booking it. You're like, okay. But my easy pace is around like 11:30 to 12 minutes. And then my race pace is about 9:35, 9:40. So it really should be a lot slower than what you can actually do. And it is truly so helpful to run most of your runs, easy runs. Like if it's a designated to be an easy run, actually slow down and take it slow. I know plenty of people that also have to do like walking intervals during their easy runs because their heart rate is still getting too high. So definitely recommend either slowing down your pace or adding in some walking in order to really get it down. Do I need to train on trails to run a trail race? I would definitely recommend it. Running on trails is very different and a lot harder than running on a road or the concrete or anything like that. And I think you would find yourself very surprised to go out and do a trail run without ever having trained on it. It's so important just to understand how your body works on the trails, and trail running just involves so much more of your body versus like when you're running on concrete or something like that, it's the same motion over and over and over and over, and you're kind of just working those like same few muscles. But trail running is truly like a full body workout, and just the different movements I think you really need to practice on, or else you could find yourself pretty beaten up after a trail race. Where are your cute running shorts from? I like to think I have a lot of cute running shorts, so I don't know exactly which pair you're talking about, but I get a lot of mine from Outdoor Voices, I get a lot from Nike, I get a lot from Lululemon. I just got some from Amazon and Run Janji that I'm excited to try out, but I would say the majority that you've probably seen me in are Outdoor Voices or maybe Nike. Hi there, currently 2 weeks away from my first ultra and was wondering your biggest tips. So I don't know what distance ultra you're running because my advice would kind of vary depending on the distance, and obviously I've only gone up to 50 miles, so I can't give advice or anything longer than that since I haven't done it. But I think something I really regretted at the 50 miler in March was overpacking my hydration vest it was fine, but when I put it on, it was just so heavy, and I definitely did not need everything that I had. So if you have a crew member, I would think more about loading them up with a lot of your like nutrition and stuff like that, so you're truly only carrying what you need for those miles until you see them again, or putting more in your drop bag so you don't have to carry everything with you. I was just so nervous about like, oh my gosh, what if I need this at this exact point? So I packed literally so much with me. And then another thing is to just respect the distance. It's a long distance. And again, I don't know your background in running other races or running, I guess you said this is your first ultra, but it's so much of a mental game out there. And so I think you really, just like in a marathon, you really need to start slow. But yeah, just respect how far you're going, stay relaxed, stay calm. And I think that will help you a lot, really helps your mental game as well. And then I've shared this a lot, but again, depending on the distance that you're running, I think it's really helpful to only listen to music in the latter half, or once you start to like really feel the pain and struggle a little bit. That really helps me in the 50 miler. And I think it's just, music can be such a boost and so helpful for you, but if you're using it for the entire time, it's not really going to give you any edge. However, if you use it in the second half, I do think it'll give you more of like a boost that you might need. Best advice to someone interested in ultra running, I would say just go for it. I think there is so much intimidation and all these stereotypes surrounding ultra marathons, and that's one of the reasons that I love creating content around the ultras that I've run, because I feel like people would be so surprised to find out what an ultra marathon is actually like. People are so supportive, no one cares about pace, which is amazing, and everyone is just so excited to be outside. So I would say if you're interested in it, go for it. The biggest thing to consider would be if you have the time or not to commit to training, because it is definitely a big time commitment. But if you are in the right season of your life to commit the time to it, 100% go for it. Like, there is nothing to be scared of, and really all you have to do is like commit to the training, and I think you'll do an amazing job out there. What do you love about running? I think there are two main things I think about when it comes to loving running. I love just how it makes me feel. I love the joy that I get when running, and also the energy that it gives me to go and tackle my day. Y'all know I'm a morning runner, so I just love how I feel afterwards. I feel like I've gained so much confidence and discipline and consistency, time management, all those things through training. And so I just love like overall how it makes me feel. And that kind of leads me into the second one. I feel like I'm the best version of me when I am running consistently, because it is most of y'all know I run alone for the most part. So it is like my time with myself. It's my time with God. It is time with nature. And I just feel like I am the most me and the best version of me when I am running that much. Do you have a running coach? If not, how do you plan your training? So I do not have a running coach. I would love to get one once I move past 50 miler training. I think especially if I want to do a 100 miler, I definitely want a coach. But since I plan on hopefully running another 50 miler in the fall along with the New York City Marathon, I don't plan on getting a coach for either one of those. I buy my plans from Final Surge. I really like them for majority of my marathons. I think for the first like 8 or 9 marathons, I was just kind of doing like free plans online, like a one size fits all plan. And I don't really love that approach. Just the more I've learned about running and about myself, I just feel like that's not the best way to approach training. That's my own opinion. If you were using free plans, then that's amazing and they're working for you, like keep doing it. But Final Surge, I feel like it's kind of a good in between of the free plans online and getting a running coach. You can kind of specifically put in like what you're looking for. I don't know if you can like put it in, but you can just search through the plans. So for my 50K, I put in, that I am very familiar with the marathon distance, but I have never done anything over, and it would be my first ultra marathon, and found a plan for that. Same thing with the 50 miler. I put that I'd done, a 50K, plenty of marathons before, but it would be my first 50 miler. So I like that you can kind of specify on a few things. How to overcome a fear of long runs. I still get anxiety about some of my long runs that I have. Like if it's been a while since I've done 20 miles, like I get pretty anxious the night before. And first just want to say that is completely normal, and it's completely fine too. Like I think a ton of people, again, myself included, have like fear or anxiety, but I think the best tip is to be present in the mile that you are in. It is so easy when you're going a long distance just to like freak out and panic or get stressed while you're running about how many more miles you have ahead of you. But I would just encourage you to really stay focused and present on the mile you're in. A technique that I use is called chunking, literally the grossest word, but I chunk my long runs. So if I have an 18 mile run, in my head, I would either think of it as 2 9-mile runs, especially if I'm comfortable doing 9 miles, or break it up into like 3 5-mile runs and then a 4-mile jog at the end or something like that. But I think just breaking it up that way and like visualizing the night before, if you're really anxious, or even in the morning when you're getting ready, visualize a really great long run. And I've really gotten comfortable with visualizing and visualization, whatever you want to call it, but just visualizing, like actually picturing myself like smiling, feeling good about the weather, feeling confident in my outfit, and just like really enjoying the run. That type of visualization really helps me. The amount of visualization that I did heading into the 50-miler, I think really helped me. What do you do for work, and are they hiring? I will let you know if I'm ever hiring because I work for myself. But yeah, I'm a freelance copywriter. I've been freelancing for 2.5 years now. And then I also do content creation. When you first started this page, did you think it would grow into what it's become? Absolutely not. Definitely not. So I don't know how many people know this, but I had a different Instagram page for I think around 6 years. I did a lot of travel right when I graduated college. I would like really utilize my weekends and go on like the 5 a.m. flight and like get back at like midnight on Sunday and then go to work on Monday. So I did a ton of travel and posted a lot about that on a more like travel and lifestyle focused page. Then during COVID, I hesitantly got on TikTok and was still just trying to figure out like what to post, because I'd heard people were growing really fast on TikTok, and honestly, like my other page hadn't grown or seen good engagement in quite a while, like probably like 2 or 3 years. And so I was like, okay, I have nothing to lose by getting on TikTok. I'll just try it. I didn't grow that fast on there either, but I just saw a couple people, really not that many, and I honestly don't even know if they post about it anymore, but I saw someone like do a running vlog in Mexico. She lived there, and I like was just like showing the routine of how she was getting ready and then going out on a run, and I was like, that is so cool, that's so fun. Like I had always said I would never create a page solely about running. I would post about it here and there on my other page, but I was always like, no, I just feel like there's not that much to talk about. Like I don't know if I would ever want to focus only on that. And then seeing other people sharing their runs, I was like, wait, that's so fun. So I started to post those here and there, and then completely turned my TikTok into running only. And at the time, my Instagram like still wasn't growing. Kind of felt like I was talking to no one on there. I had like 17,000, and just like, was never talking to anyone in DMs or comments or anything like that. And so after like 6 months of doing running stuff on TikTok, I was like, I might as well just try and start a different Instagram page only about running, just to kind of mirror my TikTok page and just see what happens. It was so scary to start over and start a new page. I don't even post on my other one anymore, but I was like, I literally have nothing to lose. So growth at the beginning, it took me like 3 months to grow 1,000 followers, I think. And then after that point, I feel like I kind of went on a consistent like growth, and now I've definitely like leveled out and whatnot. But I am like, honestly, I'm so humbled every single day that people want to follow me and want to hear about what I'm up to and like what I'm running. It's just been the coolest thing, and to feel like I have so many people online supporting me has truly carried me so much farther than I can even express. So yeah, I am still just wowed at the fact that I almost have 30,000 more followers on this page than I did my other one that I worked on growing for 6 years. When is your next ultra? So if my ankle heals in the next few weeks, I'll start training for another 50-miler in September. And if not, I will probably, I don't know, maybe try and find one in December. But yeah, the plan is to run one in Texas in September and then have the New York City Marathon in November. That's really only if I can get to training like in the next few weeks. I'm still doing the bike and plan to incorporate swimming and more stuff like that. But yeah, we don't really want to sign up for one if I'm not running. Can you please share how to pick the right running shoe? My best and only advice is to go to a running store, just because it is really important to have someone watch the way you run and they know about all the different shoes that they carry, and so they can recommend the best pair of shoes for you. The question is, I have a leg injury and I can't run. It means a dip in my mental health. How do you cope with an injury emotionally? Injuries really take a toll on your mental health, and I feel like most runners feel that way, so you are definitely not alone. I think it is super important though to remember that this is not your forever. You are not going to be forever injured. You are not going to be out of running forever. This is only just a short season in the long-term picture of your running and your running journey. That really helps me. And then I also know that if I take my injuries seriously, I'll be back to running faster than if I was just ignoring it and trying to keep running on it and potentially making it worse. So definitely encourage you to take it seriously and really dedicate yourself to, you know, the exercises that you need to be doing in order to heal, and use this time to do other things that you maybe haven't had time to do because running has taken up so much of your life. Really just find the silver linings in this season, because trust me, I know it sucks. It's so hard. Like I said, I'm like looking outside the window every single morning being like, man, I really wish I could run, but I'm thankful for this time just to work on building up an area of my body, my ankle, that previously was pretty weak. Tips for beginners that want to run long distances like the half and then the full marathon. Oh my gosh, I have so much advice. The first thing is to not compare yourself to other people online, whether it's looks, whether it's your own training, whatever it is. Everyone is on their own separate journey and everyone needs something specific for their own journey. So don't get too caught up in what people are posting online and what you're seeing people do online, because it's also never the full story either. And then would just encourage you to start slow. So I don't know where you're at in your running journey, but my biggest advice would be to start by running for time versus for distance. So build up to running for 10 minutes straight, then get to 15 versus like a mile, because I think it's a lot more encouraging to realize you can run for 60 minutes, like a whole hour, than it is to say, oh, I ran 5 miles. Stay consistent. It takes a good chunk of time to really like get in the shape for running, and I think it can be really discouraging again when you're seeing other people running and you're like, well, I'm just like, it's not fun for me yet. I will say it's not fun when you're not in shape. Like when you're struggling to run 4 miles, that is not fun. However, after like 2 months of work, you'll realize that you can run 4 miles without stopping or 40 minutes without stopping. And I think acknowledging that progress and like the wins that you have is also super helpful too. If you went out on a run for enjoyment and not training, what distance would you do? Depending on how much time I have, I would probably do anywhere between 8 to 12 miles. I, for some reason, really like those distances. I really like going on like a 2-hour run and just having fun and allowing myself to zone out, either think about everything or think about nothing. But yeah, that distance is super, super fun for me. Okay, I am going to wrap this up here. I've been filming for about 35 minutes now, so my meeting is in 5 minutes, so I need to get going, get ready for that meeting. But I hope you all enjoyed this. This was so much fun. I love getting to answer questions from you guys. I know I kept all the questions solely running based, and I had questions about other things, but for the most part it was really only running. So I might do another one where I am answering all the questions that weren't running based. But for now, I hope y'all enjoyed this running Q&A, learned a little bit more about me, my story, and hopefully got some tips along the way. But I love you guys, and I will see y'all in the next video.